Have you seen the most glorious human being this side of the cosmos? Look at him over there sitting very quiet, very humble, ever so patient. Soda Fraudulence, how you doing, man? You doing good?
I'm doing okay. I got the second shot, so I'm told that my powers will kick in tomorrow. So, that man who was telling us all those things, he's like, on this day, all the people with this kick. It's happening, man. He just forgot to tell us that we needed to get that one injection. Well, I'm sorry, those two injections. You see, here to tell you all that COVID-19 was actually brought here for you, for me, to attain our true destiny. Yes.
Look, when I got my second shot, I could turn this on just by breathing on it, but your powers only last 48 hours. I can't do it anymore. See, still off, man. It sucks. It sucks, man.
You see, my powers won't be temporary, all right? I just really hope I don't end up like that one dude in the X-Men who has he's a bird, but he has like all the bad things about being a bird. Like he looks like a bird and he has brittle bones.
But at least he can fly, right?
Nope. Can't fly.
Because he's a human body, right?
Yeah, he's got a human bird body.
So he's Mordecai. God damn, bro.
Exactly. Mordecai with brittle bones.
But anyways, to get started with today's episode, there's a lot of things that are going on in the world, and we're going to start off with something that doesn't matter at all to anybody. But it seems as though people on Twitter are arguing who are the Elite Four? Who are the four heavenly kings of Cartoon Network? Who goes on the Mount Rushmore of the Cartoon Network mythos? From all the way back in the 90s, all the way up to today. And it seems right now that the top four that everyone seems to be saying, and by everyone, I mean my mixtapes, if you count them as a valid source for any goddamn thing, has decided that therefore are The Amazing World of Gumball, Adventure Time, Regular Show, and Steven Universe. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that these shows are terrible or discredit them in any way, because I believe that all of them have their merits, except for Steven Universe. I feel like Steven Universe is a show that went hard on the representation. It really made people feel good about themselves, but from the writing department was the drizzling dog shits. But hey, every different strokes for different folks. From a writing standpoint, it was gobbledygook. Next time when I want to see a show where someone tells somebody to stand there for 5,000 years, only to be like, she never came back, I'm going to kill everybody. That's not hype. I don't know what they do that at. But, what are your thoughts on the four that they chose?
All four of those they're good for, okay. So if people are talking about like recent series, it's like, okay, I understand. These are the things that are going to be fresh in the minds of like Zoomers.
If they're talking about recent series, these kind of the four by default then, because you're not going to put Apple and Onion on there. My little cousin has watched 2 episodes of that, and I'm just like, nah, I'm going to change the channel on you. Don't get me wrong. What else you going to put up there, Uncle Grandpa? Because I know that's what the fuck we're not doing, bro.
Jesus, man. There was a talking pizza in that show. Like, I know some people will be talking about Chowder, maybe. Some people will be talking about the Misadventures of Flapjack, which honestly, it deserves praise. Flapjack created a lot of the things that you love today. All right, Flapjack like fucking crawled so that so many other things could walk for you, and people just don't.
I feel like Flapjack and Sheep in the Big City are 2 shows that came out during the wrong time period.
Yes.
Like that dry humor of Sheep would have slayed in around 2011, 12. Hell, shit, you could even put that shit way back into like, modern times. And I'm sure that show would be killing it. Especially if they made it like a YouTube show. Like, telling you, that would have their own. If College Humor could air the shit that they air on YouTube and rack in millions of views, Sheep in the Big City has no limits. I'm telling you that today.
I tell you really like right now. So do you mention that College Humor had a TV show on MTV? All right, that show got canceled. Want to know why? Because it was not that great. I watched almost every single episode of that show, and I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna get better and better." And boy, it got worse and worse, and that's why it got canceled. Like they had a shot, they fumbled the bag, and so they just went back to their internet stuff. And
Facts.
they're still around, I guess, but no, you're not looking for the latest College Humor video anymore.
Well, here's the thing: College Humor has always had like really, 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 really straightforward jokes. And by straightforward, I mean like normally you could just read the fucking title of the video and you know what the joke is. Especially any of the ones that were like gaming related or any of the shows they had on there that were like, like Sonic jokes or or Dorkly's the same thing.
Yeah, honestly.
And it's just like, you know exactly what the jokes are before you even click the video. And it's like 2 to 10 minutes of the same shit that you thought in your head that wasn't really funny when you thought them, that they thought was hilarious. And it's like 3 million views, 4 million views. And it's like, why are we doing this again? Now, granted, I think both these channels have started to lose steam over the years because I think people have woke up and been like, yeah, maybe they were never funny, guys. Spoiler alert, they weren't. But continue.
Or there are like other people who show up and do like funnier things, which is why I mentioned like Flapjack, because it's like, Flapjack was very funny, but Flapjack had like some jokes that just didn't hit very well, especially towards the end. And some shows showed up and did these jokes better, and like Gumball is like definitely the show that took that approach and then did it better than Flapjack, at least as far as becoming popular with it, and at least as far as appealing to more people, because jokes from Flapjack were good, but they were like really deep, and it was like, this is a reference to something that you're probably not going to get unless you've like seen certain things or cared about certain like communities, etc. Gumball took that and was just like, let's make it broader, let's do the same joke but make it appeal to like everybody. Joe Sixpack can go ahead and watch this show and be like, oh, I understood that reference.
Yeah, because they have bananas watching porn. Like, hey man, I was watching this orange get this this orange was getting naked for a brother out here, bro. Like, hey yo, relax. It's not what you think. It's what you think, but go ahead and shut the door. Let me continue as I was in peace.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom. Y'all know
so I don't know. So like none of the 4 that were listed as like the Mount Rushmore of Cartoon Network. First off, 4 is a bad number for that. But if we're gonna pick the top 4, it's gonna be none of those things there. Like you can argue Adventure Time and Regular Show because of the impact that they've had on like modern society and like young adults now.
What do you think? If we're talking about impact, then like unfortunately, Steven Universe got to go on there too, because Steven Universe had fucking concerts where they were out there like getting crunk in New York City Square and like literally just crowding the entire plaza so Estelle could sing whatever songs that she brought to the table, because she had more than one.
Yeah, and Steven Universe's impact mostly comes from using a medium to inform people of certain communities that have always existed, but people may not have known a lot about, or people have not gotten a humanizing image of. But unfortunately, it's very like symbolic. So some people just straight up don't understand that that's what it's about. There are themes in Steven Universe.
When you're looking at it through a kid's lens, obviously you're probably not gonna catch everything. But like my experience with Steven Universe is, my cousin was like, "Hey man, let's watch Steven Universe." Like basically the movie with the Spindle character was out, and they're like, "Yeah, let's binge watch it." So like I was over there for a week, and we watched it for on and off for about the entirety of the week. And I'm just like, the writing for this show is nauseating to the point to where it's like a character is important, and then they're just not important, and then they completely stop acting like the character that they've built up to this point. It happened with Garnet. She just becomes a euphemism for fusion at some point. Like, she was important, she did things. The 2 parts that make her up did things. And then it was like, fuck all that. It's the Steven does goofy shit sometimes show. And then like other characters would be like, yeah, I'm important. And then you were just like, no, it's come to my attention that 90% of the people in here not named Amethyst or Garnet Garnet are probably sacks of shit when it comes to being people.
Look, man, I'll tell you right now, the Steven does goofy shit narrative that you're talking about there, that is the beginning of the show. Dead ass. That is how the show began. Like
Well,
that is all it
at
is
the
in the beginning.
beginning,
And
I thought we were strapped in for like a slice of life kid does stupid shit with aliens type of show, and then it was
right.
just like hard curve, and then it was like narrative and plot, and I was like, okay, that's neat, I guess. And then it just got to a point to where I believe that almost none of the characters ever met their full potential. And then I'm not saying that the ending was rushed. I don't know what the original ending was going to be, but it just seems like they just started throwing concepts at the fucking wall and never addressing any of the shit. And then uh
And they just did something that was like, this is the I don't know, this is like a lazy ending, and it's weird, but hey, everybody's friends in the end. And then they were like, yeah, we're gonna have a sequel series, and I'm like, but what? What's the conflict? Oh, there is none. like the conflict is just like residuals. Like there's literally an episode in Steven Universe Future that's all about the actual Rose Quartz, the Rose Quartz like brigade, and how they're all children to a certain character, and it's like, yeah, hey, Steven, technically we're your sisters. And then it was like half the episode was Steven trying to be like, oh, well, I have to be accommodating towards you, and then I'm just not going to tell you any of the other deep shit because you don't need that in your life. And then they were like,
and
yeah,
I'm like,
we're not going to tell you that.
it's like
And
so,
they're like, wait,
so it's like you're
you
not gonna
all
address
understand it.
No, it's like you're not gonna address the giant elephant in the room of your mom was a gigantic, steamy, whopping sack of dinosaur shit. We're just not gonna address that. She was
And
like,
then they do, because they're like, oh yeah, we know. And he's like, wait, what? And so they're like, oh shit, so you understand. And then they have like a bonding moment, and they're like, all right, well, now we're gonna leave because we don't want to be here. We don't want to be here, and we don't want to see you. You're cool, but we don't want to be around you. So all right, goodbye. I'm like, oh, well, shit.
So Future, I haven't seen. All I have from Future is when you told me that there was an episode where apparently there was another Pearl that shows up who like looks like she's abused, and then regular Pearl was like, hey, I can't believe White would beat you up like that. That's why you got that crack right. And she was like, White? Nah, fam. Pink. And then we're like, oh, here we go again. Just another victim.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
she's like, oh no, it was just an accident though. And I'm like, all right, I'm not even gonna get into that,
And for what you told me, it's like it was supposed to be a breakdown between the the differences of physical trauma that one suffered and the emotional scarring that the other one suffered, and it's supposed to be a big thing about that. Whatever. If you want to tackle these deep concepts, go all in. But like the way that they wrote the show, it just seems like that. I know that there was probably different writers for different episodes. I'm sure there was a lot of people in the room, and there may be an instance of too many cooks. But it was like, man, y'all were just all over the place with the fucking shit that y'all wanted to do for this show that honestly probably should not have gone on this long. Especially show that after doing a little bit of research had like 14 to 15 different like multi-month hiatuses just in the middle of the season.
Oh yeah, that show like traumatizes people who actually fucking cared. It was literally like, all right, so when's the new episodes coming out? All right, new episodes of Steven Universe, 3 new episodes coming out. All right, cool. When's the rest coming out? 6 months. Happened several times throughout the show's like airing. So people who are just now getting into it, like they're lucky because they don't have to like deal with that like nonsense. But maybe that's also why it's on the Mount Rushmore because
of its longevity factor was inflated. Like it's been there. Wait, how long did that show run? It feels like it was a decade. It definitely wasn't, but it feels like it was.
It was definitely at least 4 or 5 years.
So the first episode decided to air May 21st, 2014.
2013 to 2019.
That's 6 years.
Yeah.
It felt like it was there for a long ass time. But if you like the show, then you like the show. I'm not here to say that you can't like the show or try to insult you for liking the show. Just it did nothing for me. But I'm a grown ass man. I when I'm watching shit with my little cousins, just being the babysitter in the family, I can't. Everything ain't gonna connect with me, and it's not supposed to.
Right.
So, but from my era, I believe most of our shows body most of the shows today. Now, I'm not saying that y'all have bad shows, but come on now, yeah. Were y'all really watching Clarence?
Yo, nobody's talking about Clarence.
Did y'all really watch Apple and Onion? Y'all really gonna tell me Teen Titans Go is going?
Hey, watch it, buddy. Like Teen Titans Go is actually pretty decent. They have good jokes there.
No. I'm not even one of the people that hates Teen Titans Go. I'm like, Teen Titans Go has moments where it's like, that's funny, but I feel like it should be one of those YouTube short shows where they upload like, an 8-minute clip and they just call it a fucking day.
Yeah, they wanted Teen Titans originally to be for kids, so they're like, this is our cash cow here, so we can actually make this for kids, and people who have like nostalgia for the old series can like show up and fucking, they can show up and watch this. So
now, I will say there are 2 shows on modern day Cartoon Network that I think will be pretty good, and I hope they're successful. I won't be watching them, but I hope they're successful. The first one is Victor and Valentino, and the second one is Craig of the Creek. They got something with those 2 shows. I don't know how they're going to pan out, but from the little bit I saw from both, they got something there, and I keep that up. Keep that up. Cartoons that if I was a kid, I would probably watch. Those 2 right there. But anywho's, for me, if I had nail me to the wall, gun to my head, you said I can only pick 4 shows, I'm going to tell you right now, the first 2 are probably going to have to be Ed and Eddie, because that was a great monumental show, because not only was it consistent throughout its entire runtime, even the weird season when they went to school, consistent in the funnies, the laughs, and the quality. And then it got a movie payoff ending, and they didn't go too far. They didn't try to take it farther than it needed to go. It had a nice ending. That's number 1. Because y'all know me, I'm a big stickler. It's not always about how you start, it's about how you finish. And when you end good, and you were consistent throughout, there's no way I could take you off the list. That's number 1. Number 2, I'll leave regular show on there. I'll leave it on there. It did what it needed to do. Once again, it found its ending, rode off into the sunset. I'm A-okay with that. Number 3, fuck, I'm gonna give it to Powerpuff Girls. That's why that reboot that apparently was coming, but eventually got canned. Because apparently they're scrapping it and they're starting over from scratch. Which leads me to believe that may not have been a leak. That may have been someone genuinely been like, save us. Help.
Yeah, it is coming. They're only redoing the pilot.
Yeah. So who knows how much of this lore is going to be sucked right back in, and how much of it we really circumvented. But time will tell on that. I'm 100% certainly fucking sure. But like, it's hard when you can't like have a top 10 list and you have to narrow it down to 4. Because that's when things get rough. Because like, some people are like, well, what about Teen Titans? You gonna put Teen Titans on there? I can't. I would love to put the original Teen Titans on there because it had that quality, but that ending that it never got leaves a lot to be desired right here, so I can't put it up there. Great show.
You don't remember the ending of, hey guys, Dr. Light is about to get gang stomped by all of us because we survived some crazy shit.
Nah, man.
It's like Teen Titans and the heroes will always be here.
Nah, man. That fade to white.
Oh, by the way, Sarah's alive. Anyways.
Oh no. Spoilers, bro.
Oh, that's the real ending. That episode where
I know
they found Tara. That's the actual ending.
And it fades to white. And I was like, what type? This is a crock of shit.
That was the intended ending for the show once they knew there was, an ending coming for the show. So
now don't get me wrong, our era had some stinkers too, all right? Like I'm not ignorant with y'all. I know that our era had some bullshit because we definitely had My Gym Partner's a Monkey. All right, I know that shit existed. I'm sorry that our era had to bring that was on the tail end of our era. That was like that weird middle spot, but we have to hold that L.
People like that show.
I know, but we had bangers. We had Kids Next Door, Ed, Edd n Eddy. We had Foster's Home, Powerpuff Girls. We had like what 5 different versions of Scooby Doo. Because Scooby Doo just never died. Like all of ours were bangers. Even a pup named Scooby Doo. I don't give a fuck what it says. We had Dexter's Lab. Like we had a lot of things going for us. Like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Matt. We had a lot of things. And here's a low key under the radar favorite of mine that none of y'all probably even remember. And if you don't, do yourself a service and go relook it up. Time Squad.
There we go.
How did you know? All right, you're cultured. You passed the vibe check. Time Squad, legendary, legendary. I'm not gonna sit up here and regale you with it. Just go look it up. Just go look it up. That's all you need to do. Go look it up. Do yourself a service. But all that being said, as long as whatever happened to Robot Jones isn't on your Mount Rushmore, you're probably fine.
Oh, jeez.
I have a conspiracy theory that show was only made so eventually people would start asking, what happened to that Robot Jones show? It's the only way. Also, we had the original Ben 10. Like, come on, man. Stop it. Yes, I understand. We also had another stinker called Camp Laszlo, but once again, I'm not gonna talk to you about that.
That was in the same era as my gym partner is a monkey, and so I just put those two together because they're the same level of quality to me. All right, so that's all that
Weasel,
is.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, bro. Bro, we even had Totally Spies, bro. Check the tapes. Check the tapes, man.
Look, I had someone tell me that he loved watching Totally Spies on mute, and I was like, all right. Whatever,
nah, that can't be why I think, though. Nah.
I'm talking about when
he wildin', bro. He just wildin', bro. He just saying things because he got a mouth. Get him out of here.
Nah, man, he praised the gospel of Totally Spies to me. I never liked that show. I was just kind of like, whatever about that show. And he was like, nah, man, it's good. You got to watch it. And I was like, what? I was like, I wasn't expecting this from you. And he's like, yo, I like to watch that show on mute. And I was like, all right. You got it. You got me. You got me.
My man was trying to have a viewing partner out there, man. Nah, man. Nah, bro. You can't be doing that shit, brother. But before we get sidetracked, yeah, I guess on the number 4 spot, it's really tough. It's really tough. I really don't know who I'd have on my 4th spot.
All right. For me, the ones like for me personally would be Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Ed, Ed and Eddie, and Adventure Time. Because Adventure Time shows like Adventure Time was at like the end of that era of like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, all that shit, and like beginning the new era after Chowder and Flapjack tried to create a new era. Adventure Time was like the show that really solidified that they were trying to do some different things with Cartoon Network TV shows, and it started off at seeming like it was just this kid show or whatever, but it ended up that the whole time that they had this big narrative that they were trying to do, not like Steven Universe where it was just doofy episodes and then all of a sudden a narrative. It was literally everything was a real narrative, and the story is like built really well. Like Cartoon Network like really changed how they were telling stories in kids shows, and they were like adding more things that would teach kids lessons, but also they were snuck in there so that a kid wouldn't just blatantly see, oh my god, there was a genocide that happened here. But they'd be like, that mushroom war, that's very, very strange. What's this over here?
Too bad there's no mushroom.
A wizard,
right?
Yeah. A wizard, huh? Candy people, interesting. And then they go off from there.
You go ahead and read in between the lines. But no, my number 4 is Justice League. There it is.
Does that count?
It counts. It counts.
Okay, see, that changes the entire conversation. All right. Yeah, see, I'm not even gonna like I'm gonna stick with what I have.
If Teen Titans counts, how does Justice League not count?
I don't remember Justice League being like a Cartoon Network only show. Well, yeah, it was. Never mind. So then we would have to talk about like the Batman and Superman shows, and
well, here's the thing. Though. Justice League I only saw on Cartoon Network. The Batman and all those other shows I saw on like WB Kids and like that.
That's what I'm yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
I haven't seen Justice League on there. If Justice League was on there, all right, maybe we have to dial it back.
Yeah, Justice League was on there, but Teen Titans was also. So yeah.
Look, it's in the Warner Brothers catalog. Warner Brothers is bed buddies with Cartoon Network, so I'm gonna let it rock.
Right, exactly. So I get what you're saying. It's impossible to have like a real like Mount Rushmore of Cartoon Network shows. You'd have to like take it and change it based on like eras instead.
And I also you'd also have to do it based on genre, because like
yeah.
Because
course.
Duck Dodgers deserve some loves, all right? Let me just keep it a whole bean with y'all. Most
Oh,
of
that
y'all,
Looney Tunes sequel show
The Looney Tunes
also.
show? Yeah, man, my boy Cecil Turtle was packing the heat, bro.
Hmm.
Why don't you sit down there, Mr. Rabbit? Holding the pistol. Bro, my man was out here, but committing insurance fraud nonetheless. But that's a different story for a different day. But comment section, let us know. What were your Mount Rushmores of Cartoon Network? And I swear to God, if y'all put a Nickelodeon show on there that tells me that you're a fraud, don't do that. But you know what? I'll even extend this olive branch. Give us your Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. Give us both of those Mount Rushmores. And I will like and love the ones that truly, truly deserve it. We'll vet through them. So if you don't receive a like and a love, then we appreciated you coming out, but your list does not fly here. Just a heads up. But anywho, there are other things in the world to talk about today. Actually, no. Did you finish yours? Did you only give me 3 shows?
Did I? Was it Dexter's, Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Edd n Eddy, and Adventure? No, I get 4. I get
Okay.
4.
I'm just making sure because Dexter's Lab just kind of flew in there. We didn't really talk about it, but yeah, Dexter's Lab. All right. The only reason why I wouldn't put Dexter's Lab on there is because that last season was kind of rough.
Man, we don't talk about that.
It was kind of rough around the edges, but I
Had some
respect it.
different writers back then.
I respect it. But moving past that, I don't know if you guys know about this, but Intel is having the Intel World Open for both Rocket League and Street Fighter, and it's going to be at the Tokyo Olympics. You may be saying, whoa. Esports at the Olympics? Well, please tell me more. Why aren't these communities talking about this? Why isn't the FGC boasting about this on their chest? Well, according to the FGC, I won't speak on the Rocket League side, but that Intel website that you're using in order to have your matches reported and, basically calculating the results and seeing the rule set apparently runs like a gigantic sack of fecal matter. Like it runs slow, it doesn't refresh. Even if you refresh, sometimes the refresh is behind on what's actually happening. Sometimes you could reload the page in 2 different tabs and get 2 different results on what's on there. So I don't know how they manage that, but good on them. And ultimately, the rule set is very suspect because, as you know, if you play Street Fighter V, 9 times out of 10, the average player is playing on what stage? The grid. They may be saying,
Yep.
why the grid? Well, as we all know in fighting games, there are a lot of stages that focus way too much on aesthetics, and therefore the game doesn't run optimally, or it's really hard to see what moves are coming, especially because I believe they have a stage that has a beach where there's water. So, like, if someone's crouching and doing an attack, the water gets in the way of the move because you're submerged in water, and, like, no one's trying to deal with all that. Then you have certain costumes that obviously make it harder to judge what type of moves are going, where it could turn a move that looks like it shouldn't be part of the shimmy mind games, but then it is because, like Monster Hunter Mika. Some people don't know what the fuck is going on when that character's moving in that move. But anyways, ultimately, the grid is the stage that almost every tournament says is A-OK. But for some odd reason, the Intel World Open says that stage is banned, as well as most of the other stages that are always banned are also banned, which means there are some situations that have come up, and you've seen some of the clips on Twitter, where they're like, this wouldn't have happened on the grid stage. Look at this right here. Look at this interaction right here. Look at how the game
Yep.
decides to chug frames. This wouldn't happen on the grid stage. And we're not saying that, the game isn't, an optimal experience, because it's definitely not. But you got to understand the netcode in Street Fighter V is already kind of. So we don't need to couple it with more barriers of bullshit in order to have, a proper verdict on who the better player was in any given set. But when you look through the rule set even further, you will see that they demand that whatever character you're playing uses the tracksuit costume. Which means if you're playing a set and someone's not using the tracksuit costume, people are like, hey, my opponent's not using the tracksuit costume. There is a good chance that the moderator will say, well, use the costume, or you could even be DQ'd just for not picking the right costume. Now, I don't know how deep they're going to enforce this rule, but someone did become a meme because they decided to play the set lose, and then report somebody for not picking the grid stage and not using a tracksuit. And I was like, hey, bro, you played the set and now you snitching? What? Come on, bro, not like this. And some people are saying that the staff gave him the win. I have not seen any reports of that, like legitimate reports, but some people are saying that this person won the match because the TOs decided to give him the match because they didn't use the right costume. So if that's the case, that's terrible. But like I said, that's just part of the rumor mill. But this whole rule set just seems omega jank. I'm not sure who okayed it. But at the end of the day, this is the Olympics. They don't give a flying hoo-ha about what is the norm in your esports or how things go, because I don't know if you know this. For once everyone does the online qualifiers, those who have qualified will be representing their country in person, and they will have to do piss tests, drug tests, things of that nature to make sure they're not hopped up on Adderall, they're not out here smoking all the weed in the world. They're actually going to be drug tests, which is something that we know many esports may not necessarily be accustomed to, but we know damn well the FGC has no concept. It's almost unprecedented. So, do you have any thoughts on the Intel World Open?
Look, it's an online tournament already. So them deciding that the grid should not be the tournament that or that should not be the stage that they're going to go to is ridiculous. And the whole thing with the dude who was like who was out here snitching, yeah, we were playing on the grid or whatever. It's just like it's like the person who buys food from McDonald's and then I don't know, they get like a hair in their fries or something like that, and then they come back with the empty box and they're like, yeah, there was some hair in my fries, I want a refund. It's like, but you ate all of it. What are you talking about?
Nah, man, look at this hair right here, man. I got to the bottom, man. This hair was just in here, so I know it's one of y'all's. I'm not blonde.
Exactly. What are you talking about?
Now, don't get me wrong. If you get to the bottom of the box and you find a blonde hair, like, yes, you should definitely report that. But some people like, nah, man, I saw they'd be like, hey, man, I saw this hair and I removed it and then I ate all the fries and then I complained. And it's like, nah, fam, if I see a hair in my food, if I see a follicle in my food, the minute I see that follicle, I'm going to look at this. Look at it. Who not wearing a hairnet back there? I know this is McDonald's and I shouldn't be expecting the greatest, but I shouldn't have to be expecting biological warfare in my food. I don't need this extra protein from your hair. Thank you very much.
That's facts. That can make me sick, and I don't want that.
I show up to work thinking that I got COVID-35. Next thing I know, it's just because some girl put her hair in her fucking fries. Like, I would not like to have that life crisis of wondering what I got, only to find out it was just hair. But anyways, that being said, it's just really weird. It's just really weird that the Olympics would pick up esports and think Street Fighter would be one of the ones that would get to come along. Because, I mean, we know when it comes to the list of what are the biggest esports, we know Street Fighter is very, very far removed from the top 10 and top 20, top 30 esports all time.
Look, man, you don't got to do all that. Come on, man. They're trying to, show the FGC some love so that they can become, that top 5 of the FGC or of the esports games, because the FGC doesn't get money like these other games do. If they invested in offline tournaments in that way, then that could generate a lot of revenue because, the fighting games are very, very exciting to look at. Definitely more exciting than some games that are on that list of the top, top 10 esports games right now. So they wanted to take a chance, especially because Street Fighter was becoming increasingly more popular, and they probably just didn't want to deal with the Smash community. But yeah, and Capcom might have actually approached them about this, especially because the Olympics are happening in Japan. So yeah, Capcom might have been like, "Hey, you're going to be in our city, so how about you come through and give us some of those bucks over there for some tournaments and whatnot? We will, reward you handsomely." And then
250,000 bison bucks.
Oh, hey, it's going to be online, guys. It's going to be what? The grid is banned. Excuse me? Well, hey, we got costumes in the game for the Olympic event. They have to use the costumes. Excuse me? Yeah, well, they got to promote the Olympics, right? And it's like, what?
Ultimately, here's the thing, though, right? I would understand this when it's the stream part, but it's like the qualifiers. Like, it's not even streamed. Like, most of these matches, no one's even going to see. So I don't really
So,
see why you would need necessarily to have the costumes. But they also said that you need to have replays. So I'm assuming that in the literature or the long, like 16-page document that they posted for the rules, because yes, you have to download the rule book. There is no rules page. It's a comprehensive guide. There are a couple of things where it does talk about marketing and the whole thing about whose property it is. Because I'm pretty sure at some point it's going to be somebody working at Intel or someone on the Olympic Committee through Intel who is going to have to go through look at all these CFN IDs, download a whole bunch of match footage, and make the promo videos for the people who qualify. Like I'm assuming that's how they're going to do that, but that remains to be seen. But ultimately, I just think it's really, really weird to not have the only stage where the game works, knock on wood, properly as one of the stages that you're going to ban. And then on top of that, forcing a costume on players just seems like you're doing a little bit much there. But, I'm not the Olympics. Like, the Olympiad is a whole different beast. But the other thing that's weird is that their rule set decided to take care of all these little nooks and crannies, but didn't tell people that they couldn't enter other regions. Because you have some people in the United States on the West Coast entering the East Coast region. Then you have people who were on the East Coast saying, oh, yeah, we were going to enter the West Coast region. Because why would you limit your amount of chances to represent your country? That would be foolish. And then, like, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday, after people have already qualified, people said, oh, yeah, you can't enter both regions. And they had to ask a mod this. This wasn't even something that was in the original bylaws. Someone had to go out of their way to ask a mod in order to get this clarification.
That's ridiculous that there was nothing in the rules that was specifically like, hey, if you live on the west side of the U.S., you can't enter the tournaments that are for U.S. East and whatnot. Like, Capcom already has like a rule set for these things with the Capcom Pro Tour, and yet somehow, some way, they just fucking, like, I don't know, they just didn't. Either the Olympics were like, don't worry, guys, we got this, or they just, Capcom was just like, yeah, whatever, do what you want, whatever, that's fun.
Here's the thing: when you have a multi-page document for the rules, I'm willing to guarantee that like 95% of the people never read it. They just signed up and said, "I'm willing to play."
Of course, of
So
course.
I guarantee you, when they go through that footage, they're gonna find out a lot of people were not wearing that tracksuit.
Yeah, but like at the same time, people who aren't reading the rules are assuming that it's your standard rules for your standard tournaments, online or offline or whatever. But usually that large document has all of the it has all the rules that you're accustomed to when you're playing in tournaments. So there's no reason for you to be like, oh yeah, all of a sudden we actually have our own stipulations here. Because why would you change the rules for something that's already been like going on in the first place? Why would you decide that I want to have my own rule set here? Like, only time this has happened and it's been like interesting or like even worth paying attention to is Smash, when they have certain stage lists, but even that is like controversial. Like you can't decide that the tournament standard is not good enough for you and your company for this event, and then also assume that the tournament players who consistently go to these types of events are going to be okay with that, and they're just gonna they're gonna pay attention to your specific rule set, unless you say, hey, our rules are different from yours, you need to pay attention to this, and then consistently remind them. Because at the end of the day, this is an online tournament and these are tournament players, bro. Like, they're not sitting here reading a 14-page document of rules here. They're just like, oh yeah, this is all the legal jargon. I can go to I can't change my character. The time's got to be this. I got it. Best 2 out of 3 set. Yeah. I know the stipulations here. I'm a veteran. Like, nah.
Because the funny thing about the Intel World Open is that I believe it's 250K for both games. So 250K prize pool for Rocket League and the same for Street Fighter. So obviously, a lot of people saw that much money on the line. They're like, "You damn right, I'm entering twice. I don't give a fuck." They'll enter under assumed names. Don't make stuff up if they have to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out. I'm assuming now that, admins have come out and clarified the rules and people have now been more aware that there is a rules document. Hopefully now we can see some things returning to somewhat normalcy and seeing people adhering to the rules without having any too many issues. Because I know the last thing we need is somebody qualifying twice, or someone qualifying in a region they weren't supposed to be in, and then us having to like backtrack and like go, wait a minute, what the hell? This is fucked up. Yada 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 yada. So on and so forth.
Exactly.
Because if there's any group of people where some shenanigans, some chicanery could pop off, it's the FGC. We could sit here and try to minimalize it all we like, but come on, guys. We have seen. We literally saw one of the tournaments that one of the homies was trying to do get DDoSed, shut down, players getting doxxed,
Exactly.
and that was just last week on the podcast. So like, let's not act like we don't know that there are some shady things that could potentially happen here. But hopefully, we can circumvent all those issues and have fair play to all. But yeah, it's just really weird. It's really weird. Also, another thing that is really weird in the world is, what if I told you somebody said Nintendo ain't Disney Plus and me? I'ma sue them. You may be saying, all right, hey man, what are you talking about here? Well, for those of you who don't know, there was someone who had a Nintendo ROM website. For those of you who don't know what a ROM is, where people are able to go ahead and download some of the classic games, being like, hey man, I don't own Super Mario Bros. Plus World. I don't own Super Mario Kart. And just go out of their way and just go able to download them and play them on emulators for the free ski. Now, that being said, this person decided to jump up out their britches and say, it'd be really, really, really cool if I decided to, I don't know, host a website where people could upload ROMs and then get this, charge people a membership fee in order to download the ROMs from the website. So this person was making money off of stuff he didn't own from people who he didn't own uploading things that they didn't own. Now, some people say literal genius. Big brain. However, there was a court order from the suit back in September 2019 with Nintendo seeking damages for copyright infringement and federal trademark infringement. And this basically came to a head when ROM Universe just combusted due to the simple fact that he decided that he was going to go in there and he didn't want an attorney. He went in there by himself thinking he was going to win this.
I got this. I got a law degree. I read a book.
My man said, watch me secure the fattest dub. My man thought he was going to be on that. Well, what's that Twitter account called? When posting their W's. He thought he was about to be there, dunking on Nintendo single-handedly. Well, let me tell you how it went. Nintendo was like, excuse me, motherfucker. You stole our shit. You sold our shit that you stole. And you're going to act like you're not guilty here? And he said, yeah, but I never uploaded those ROMs, so I should be fine. Then someone pointed out, here's literally documentation of you admitting that you uploaded those ROMs a few years ago. These are not your words? Oh, fuck. And then he got bodied. So the site's owner will have to pay $2.1 million in damages to Nintendo after the court ruled in the video game company's favor. And it's just a gigantic shit show. But like, you gotta start asking your question, because the website was taken offline last year, but the lawsuit continued, and ultimately Nintendo now won the case. Nintendo initially sought over $15 million, but the court reduced the damage to $2.1 million. So at the end of the day, like, if you're gonna download ROMs, Nintendo, let's just say Nintendo keeps a more watchful eye on these things than you would realize, because let's face it, every time there's a Nintendo-based IP fan game coming out, like the day it's about to banned, smoked, DMCA, cease and desist, get them out of here. Happened to AM2R. Remember that one game that was going to be the spiritual successor to Mother 3? And then Nintendo peeked over the garden wall and said, hey, what y'all doing over there? And all of a sudden, the game decides to ditch its whole Earthbound skin. There's no more of the characters that you know and love from the Mother IP. And now it's its own reskinned, brand new game that's just going to play similarly to the Mother games. So, yeah, there's that. And look, we could link you to a whole video of just sometimes when you hear about a fan game, the best course of action to do is shut the fuck up, wait for it to drop, and then enjoy it when it comes out. Unless it's a Sega based game or a Sonic based game, because Sega seems to not give a flying hoo ha or a flying flippity fook about people making money off of their IPs. Because that game, that fan game, Sonic Omens, that is apparently going to drop soon. Well, I won't say drop soon. They're just now putting out their first alphas and betas, and it's a game that's going to have voice acting. It has pre-rendered cutscenes. Like it's a hefty project, but they're charging a Patreon fee in order for them to develop the game. So they're making money off of Sonic to sell this fan game to people. So Sega hasn't shut them down. Sega looks like they might be aware of it, but they haven't done anything. So, unless you're Sega, unless you're doing Sega-related projects, probably best to assume that some of these companies are definitely keeping a hawk-like eye on your progress. But that being said, dude got bodied, bro. I'm not saying you can't download ROMs. I'm not saying that you can't download emulators. I'm not going to tell you that you can't do that because I think everybody on the planet at some point has done that or is doing that to this day. But when you're the person hosting it, you better be able to cover your tracks. That's all I'm saying. You better be able to cover your tracks. You better be able to make sure that this can't be tied back to you specifically. That's why, a lot of these other websites that used to have ROMs on them, like coolroms.com, you can't get ROMs from them anymore. It just tells you what the game is and says, yeah, this game was a so-and-so year. And, yeah. Because Nintendo gave them that love tap. Just, hey, buddy.
Excuse me, do you have our video games? Get the fuck out of here.
And some websites will let you have other ROMs, but not Nintendo ROMs. That is also interesting as well. But,
yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes. It really do.
You know what's wild about that, though? Considering the horrible methods that that some developers used to store copies of their old code for certain games, they just straight up don't have these games anymore. Like they don't have any way of bringing these games back or whatever because the code is literally lost. Yet the people who are emulating these games, so it's you could probably use that to get that code back or do something so that you can make the game available to people again. But they're like, nah, man, they're stealing our video games. Get out of here. We don't care. We don't care if it benefits us in any way. Get this out of here. It's just
because there's especially with the Mario ROM hacking community for Mario World, there are people who are certified, they know the Super Nintendo's code, how it works, all the way down to the chipset. They know how the headers in the game work to make them run better. They know they know all of the technicalities of what brings a Super Nintendo game to life. I'm sure you could just hit some of these people up. Some of them are former Nintendo staff. I'm sure you could just hit them up with an email, and whatever game that you need to resurface, they could probably find a way to get you a good chunk of the way there. But that aside, the dude Matthew Storman, the dude who the lawsuit was brought up against, this man made 30 G's off of the subscriptions. So people were buying the subscriptions to the site to get Nintendo ROMs and ISOs. They were truly thirsty. And he made 30 grand. Which means he made 30 grand and apparently he lost 2.1 mil. So,
because, he was like, nah, I don't need a lawyer to go against Nintendo. They can't defeat me. And,
bro, the Smash community can't even beat Nintendo. What made you think you could? Man, that's wild.
I mean, that's facts. They were like, nah, you can't stream our game. They're like, but Nintendo, you're going to make so much money. Nah, you can't stream our video game. Get away from us.
I mean, they told you, don't worry, we'll sell you Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy 1. Not 2, just 1.
A limited time.
For a limited time. And once it hit 11:59 on that day, it was so RIP. You can't buy it anymore. That Battle Royale game, same thing. You could literally boot it up, press online, it'll say searching for matches for 2 seconds, and then that thing will say, thank you for showing interest in our game. Fuck off now.
Right.
It's pretty rough out there. But, Nintendo gonna Nintendo, right? Speaking of corporations, we move on to it's Pride Month, and we've seen the corporations do exactly what we thought they'd do. It's time to change our social media to rainbow colored themes and just saying Happy Pride Month. And then for most of them, proceed to do absolutely nothing to help with representation, do absolutely nothing to, oh, I don't know, show any sort of visibility, nothing. Just we changed our social media headers. Love us, buy more product. Because we
Yeah,
here at the
man.
corporation care about insert marginalized group. And with marginalized group, we hope that we can extend all of our time, all of our assets and resources into building a stronger bond with marginalized group by doing nothing other than saying that we care about marginalized group and changing our profile picture and header to rainbow colors.
Look, we are showing our solidarity by showing the colors that you guys love. So isn't that enough? What are you talking about? Wait, what? Give money to organization that help with legislation? No, no.
What do you
Look
think
at
we
the
are?
header.
We have no influence here. Yeah, but you guys are involved with a super PAC. Hmm?
No, 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 no. Look at the colors. We already care about you. Leave us alone now. Jeez, we gave you music and stuff. Come on, leave us alone.
But as we've seen with like Knockout City has put in for their Pride Month, they put in like every LGBTQIA plus flag that you could think of in the game. Now, we saw this with Apex Legends, where they put Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate, and various other games, putting in little icons that you could put on your character or your display picture in game. And look, to me, it's always an empty gesture, but to a lot of people, it means so much to see it. Like, to those people, I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got what you want. But I do believe that we are in a position where if you are any marginalized group, you got to start asking for more. You can't just put an icon in the game and think they're doing everything that they can, because that's just not true. Especially when you're a game backed by EA's budget. We know EA has the power and the resources to truly get something moving in the right direction. They'll never do it, but we got to start asking for it. If you feel what I'm digging.
Exactly.
Because a lot of these corporations will continue to do the bare minimum while still charging you $20, $40, $60, and $100, and which you're like, why am I paying $100? Well, it's 60 for the game and five for five question marks that will be announced at a later date. And then sometimes they only give you two of the five question marks and just hope you forget that there were three more promised. It sucks, but it be like that sometimes, especially when you have people who are arguing about the wrong things, like the whole cross generation dispute that's going on right now. I'm gonna let you take point on this. What do you think about the cross generation argument that we're seeing so many people start to have on social media?
Why don't you remind me about this argument again? There are too many cross generational arguments going
Okay,
on. I mean, you
so the
got Gen
cross.
Z versus
Okay, no, no,
millennials,
no,
and
no, no. I'm talking about from the gaming perspective. People are upset that games are going to be on next
ah,
gen consoles
yes.
and last gen consoles. So, like for example, a new game like Forbidden West says they're going to be on PS5 and PS4.
Crazy, right? It's awful that this new video game is going to be on the PS5 and the PS4, even though the PS5 is so hard to get. You might have to kill a man. Like you might have to beat a man in the streets and be like, "Give me that PS5 right now." There's some nonsense going on out there just to get this console, but people are angry that developers are trying to take that into account. But, the even stranger thing is that the people who are complaining about this don't understand that this is what happens with every new console generation. Like when you have a new, when there is a new king showing up to take the throne, the old king needs to get their residuals. They're still going to make they're still going to make new games for older consoles for at least the next year, probably the next like 2 years, to be honest, at least, because one, PS4s are also hard to get because of the fact that people are like, well, I can't get a PS5, so I guess I'll get a PS4 now. Those are hard to get. PS5 itself is hard to get, and you can't just make a game only for PS5 and then expect it
to sell well, due to the
a
simple
lot of
fact,
money. Yeah,
because it's like, look, as we talked about, a lot of developers get paid whether they hit sales milestones, they get bonuses for Metacritic review scores. If the game can't get to nobody, because there's clearly a shortage in PS5s, and even Xbox Series X's aren't necessarily the easiest to come by. Much easier than a PS5, but not necessarily the easiest. Clearly, people are going to be upset due to the simple fact that their game can't get to the people that it was meant for. And especially if you are a PS5 or a Sony exclusive, yeah, it's not looking good for you. It's really not. So people are upset that like games like Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West, and a couple of others have announced that they are also going to be on the PS4. Now, as we've seen, being on the PS4 and PS5 does not always lead to the greatest dividends, because we saw what the fuck happened with CD Projekt Red's PS4 version.
Cyberpunk 2077. Oh,
It was
um,
Mondo oofs in the comment section, folks. Mondo oofs. It was pretty bad. It was not. It was most not good. Most not good.
there's
And
a announcement that came out about that game where apparently the next gen version of the game that was planned to have been updated in some sort of way is just not coming until next year now. So the PC version of the game is basically like the most optimal version of the game right now, I guess. So who knows what CD Projekt Red is doing anymore? Like I can't believe it.
mhm, mhm. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's like it's taboo to think that, these games are, not going to be completely and utterly crippled sales wise if they only release it on the PS5. But you got to understand, these games always been like for the past like 3 or 4 years, Sony has been trying to beat Sony exclusive into your head.
Yeah.
They
Like
never said PS4 exclusive. They've been saying Sony exclusive because they've been trying to lead y'all to Sony as an ecosystem. You could play it on the 4, you could play it on the 5. On the 5, you'll get your 60 FPS or more. You'll get all of your beautiful shadings, your reflections. You'll get your ray tracing, all the chef kiss visuals. You'll get your performance mode. Like they want, like as of right now, they want you to look at the PS5 not as a new system, they want you to look at it as like the PS4 Omega Pro, like the PS4 Pro Deluxe Super Turbo Edition. They want you to look at it as the flagship premium device while the PS4 is not done with its run just yet. Which time will tell if that's a wise decision. It's definitely a bold move, I'll give you that. But that's where we are right now. And I feel like a lot of people are going to have to come to the to the viewpoint of are we gonna rock with this, or how are we gonna do this? Because I mean, scalpers are buying these PS5s in record time. Like
mhm.
somebody could like make a tweet, whether you get your insider tweets from wherever you get them from or wherever you get your insider information. You think that you got an inside lane on a PS5, you boot up the website, you get the checkout, and then it says sold out, and you were like, but I did it in the same minute. I was ready. I had it ready. Nah, man,
Run fast enough, sir.
them bots work in nanoseconds, my guy. You just lose. You got to get aboard the L train, just like everybody else. Go on Twitter and complain. It's the same issue that we're having with GPUs for us PC gamers. Because I know anybody who's going through the troubles of having a GPU right now that is failing or is having issues and they need a replacement. Shit, you might have to go ahead and get a 960, bruh. Yeah, you might have to get something that's like years old. You gonna
You
have to
might
get
not even get that, to be honest.
I mean, you're right, because any slice of Bitcoin matters to these dudes. Any slice of cryptocurrency to people who are mining these cryptocurrencies, anything will do. What's that? That's a toaster that's got a GPU unit? You're damn right I'm going to use it. Like, I believe there's a video You correct me if I'm wrong, comment section. But there is a video. I could have swore I saw this. I didn't watch it. I didn't check if it was legit. But apparently somebody found a way to mine Bitcoin with a Game Boy. Now, it would take eons for it to actually mine it, but they could do it through a Game Boy. Now, this could have just been a gag video. But if any of you have seen that video, go ahead and link it in the comment section below. I'll probably look at it then. But it's really, really, really big boy desperate hours for a lot of these people with this Bitcoin stuff, especially since a lot of the market has started to turn against them. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see what the fallout is from that. But yeah, it's not looking good for us. It's not. It's really not. In terms of getting GPUs and PS5s. So yeah, developers are obviously going to want their games to be cross-generational, at least for the time being, so they can get their games into their fucking loving audience's hands. Otherwise, you're going to have a situation where, wow, the game's out. Too bad half your audience can't play it for a year. Is that really what you want? No. It's not what I would want.
Right.
But yeah, I just think it's a dumb argument that people are upset about it. Like, I just don't... Like, it seems like a very simple concept to understand, right? Like, I don't know why people are like, oh my god, the structural integrity of the game is completely compromised. Everything has been ruined because the game will not be pushed to the limit, because it won't push the PS5 through its paces and become a better game by making sure that it is optimized for the PS5 gaming experience. Which we all know, when has that ever happened within the first calendar year or 2 or even 3 of a console's life cycle? Usually we don't get till year 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 before we really get the games that are really making use of the console's architecture. So I don't know why people thought it was going to be maxed out within the first 14 to 16 months. But hey, you know, make up the rules, I guess. Then you got this other argument that seems to be delving for people about Aloy's face by saying she looks too manly in Forbidden West, and that she doesn't look dolled up, and she doesn't look pretty, and that she looks kind of ugly. I'll remove our faces, our beautiful mugs, so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about here. So let me go ahead and do that. As you guys can see, the one on the left is from the previous game, the one on the right is on the new game, and yes, there are some stark differences, absolutely, but we got to start asking ourselves a genuine question here. When it comes to looks, when it comes to facial features, when it comes to hygiene, when it comes to looking fleek, when it comes to looking chic, when it comes to looking very dapper, I don't think anybody in this universe gives a flying caboodle about any of that fuck shit when there's no gram to flex on. And 2, how am I gonna worry about taking a shower when there's a giant mechanical T-Rex that's being ridden by a crazy Khan who's just absolutely out for blood, about to nuke my house from orbit with an orbital strike from the aforementioned robotic cyber T-Rex Terminator that is staring me in the face with Scud missiles inbound? Where a lot of these villages don't even have running water in the lore. How we go care about hygiene, Sway? How?
Well, somehow, some way, she found a way to make herself look very, very pretty because she's part of a video game, sir. She's not real. Therefore, she can look however I want her to look because I require her to look perfect at all times because she is a woman in my video game that I'll be playing. Otherwise, I will not support this wretched company who does not believe that women look beautiful at all times. My standards, by the way.
How can I talk about... How can I even play a video game if I don't want to plow the way... Jesus Christ, if I'm going to play as a woman, I should at least be wanting to plow her at all times. Jesus. Why else would I play any of these games? That's why I love Metroid Other M, because she's a submissive Samus Aran, and I could... I'm sure there's someone out there who truly thinks that. I mean, you told me someone watched Totally Spies on mute. So I know they're out there. I know you social degenerates. Y'all are out there somewhere on the internet. Y'all don't have to.
They're using the studio, Source Filmmaker, in order to make their dreams come true. They're just, these same people are still going to use that program to take that same model and then make Aloy do some horrible, horrible things. I don't know, probably put a hot dog in her mouth or something.
Okay, so one of my friends has a lewd art Discord server because he's an artist. And he's like, hey man, I need your opinion on a couple of things. And I'm like, look fam, I understand you do lewd art. He said, no, this isn't lewd. I took their word for it. Surprisingly, wasn't lewd, but I went inside there. And yeah, that general channel, I shouldn't have looked in there.
Oh,
The things I saw video game characters that I had respect for doing is just
look, man.
Source Filmmaker was a mistake, man.
I once came across
Be
a
better,
video where someone
y'all.
decided to make a bestiality video, including involving Harley Quinn and dogs, and I was like, you know what? You should be banned. Not just from from source the filmmaker, not just from making videos, from the internet. Like no, your time is done. You're done. You're out of here. You're bounced.
Yeah, I just want you to go ahead
Tossed.
and pack it up for me, big dog. Yeah, I just need you to go ahead and clock out. Oh, when
That's
do I
right.
come
Pack it up,
back?
buddy.
Nah, there's no come back. Like, just clock out and you just keep it pushing, man. Go outside, touch some grass, stay away from dogs, and be better. Just. I don't care how in what aspect of life you find a way to be better, but be better. And fucking dogs. All right, y'all have. I done heard it all now. And I'm sure dogs is tame. I'm sure y'all. I'm sure y'all have some stuff, and I don't want to know about it. Keep it to yourself. Anywho, I just don't understand why people are having this big argument about her facial features. I say, oh my god, her face. Oh no, her face. I don't want to play this game anymore. And it's just like, anybody who's probably having this argument probably didn't even play the first game. Probably just haven't played the game in general. They probably just want to see a game fail because, I don't know, console war? Do people
Probably.
still do that? Is the console war still a thing? Like, are people
Oh,
still...
definitely. There are people right now who are like, "Oh, the Xbox, but that's just to collect dust," or something nonsensical like that. Like I've literally seen people make comments like that, like
Because,
recently. So,
look, you could say whatever you want about the Xbox. The fact of the matter is, Xbox Game Pass is like easily top S tier value in gaming right now. So anybody who's talking about, well, look at the sale I got on Insert Game Hero, the free game of the month on PlayStation Plus. Any Xbox fan should be able to do an Iverson crossover and just dunk on your shit by saying Xbox Game Motherfucking Pass. Especially since the fact that you can play it on PC, you can play it on your phone, due to the cloud. There's so many different things that make it very versatile and very malleable to any gamer's experience. So yeah, good job, Microsoft. You're doing good things over there. Now, as far as exclusives, work on that, because y'all a bit shaky on that spot, but you're doing good. You're doing good. And yeah, this is a story you brought up. You want to talk about Nigeria real quick before we head off?
yeah, before we head off, we got to mention real quick because this is the wildest thing. So the president of Nigeria, made some sort of tweet. It doesn't really matter what the tweet is about, right? Twitter thought, hey,
I can tell you what tweet was about if you want, though. I can tell you.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right. So he said, many of those misbehaving today are too young to be aware of the destruction and loss of lives that occurred during the Nigerian Civil War. Those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war will treat them in the language they understand. Is what Buhari wrote. Now go on.
Yeah, so President Buhari wrote that on Twitter, and Twitter, I don't know, they were like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be saying all that, and they deleted the tweet for whatever reason. It could have been like a bot that just deleted it.
No, this is what happened, because I actually pulled up an article on this. So apparently Nigerian people mass reported by saying, nah, bruh, that's not the way. That's not the way. And then that's when the tweet got sniped.
And so the tweet got sniped, and President Buhari was like, all right, Twitter is now banned from Nigeria. Thank you.
Yeah,
you guys are gonna
he just banned it. He just said, nah, man, it's over.
He's like, you dare to ridicule me? You dare to not agree with me? Twitter is gone. I'm taking the ball and going home.
Because the tweet was referring to the brutal 2-year Nigeria Biafra war, which you gotta understand, the number I'm about to give you within 2 years is fucking wild. In 2 years, the Civil War killed an estimated 1 to 3 million people. That's a lot of people to die in about 700 to 800 something days. That's wild.
Yeah, honestly, like there's not much more you can say. Like that's the
That's
terrible
more
thing, and it's very wild.
that's more than 100 people a day by a lot. That is that is crazy to me. And most of the people who died were from the Igbo tribe and the eastern part of the country. So yeah, because he was referencing this and definitely acting like the people who are fighting for freedoms over there now are don't know how. Like I said, they don't know how to act. They don't know what they're doing. Just obviously, just trying to. I don't want to use the word belittle, but he was definitely not being fond of the people who are against him and his regime as it is right now.
Of course, it was definitely a threat. He was saying, "No, no, no, they're being disrespectful to me. Therefore, like they're acting as nonsense. Like they're acting with nonsense brain, so to speak." So
So he just said, "Go ahead, shut it down."
yeah, he's like, "Get it out of here." And then when people were like, "Nah, we don't believe you," and they reported the tweet, he's like, "Oh, word? All right, no Twitter for you. The freedom is lost. How dare you?"
And it was just like, huh? It's like at first, like, can you really do that? But hey, man, yesterday, racist netcode. Today, the banning of Twitter.
The craziest thing, though, is that in like 2 to 3 years after this Twitter ban, Nigeria is going to become the best country to ever grace this earth. They're going to invent all kinds of future tech. They're going to invent teleportation. They're going to invent a cure to all diseases. They're going to invent magic. All right, like it's going to be wild, all because they don't have Twitter anymore.
Who would have known? As long as we put down the Blue Bird app,
Right.
society could be a utopia.
Twitter is what's holding us all back. If we didn't have some sort of platform where we could just decide that some dude in an anime profile picture is the way the move, saying that he's speaking gospel when he's like, yeah, that's right, and and I want to have KK sex outside during Pride the whole month. Like people having a discourse with that person. Like if we just didn't have a platform to do all that, it'd all be somewhere else.
Twitter is wild. And so is TikTok. Because I don't know if you heard about this, but FaZe picked up, I believe it's their first female player, right?
Yes.
And they put
Yes.
out a whole trailer for her, and they rolled out the red carpet. Well, apparently, a bunch of drones, bunch of weirdos went to her TikTok and mass flagged it and got it banned. So she's perma banned from TikTok for getting a sponsorship about a video that she didn't even make.
Misogyny, man. Crazy.
They really out here, man. They are really out here. And they really think they doing something, but you know what? She gonna stun on these bitches. She gonna dunk on all of them anyway, because most of the people who get that much, hate and animosity thrown to them, that much vitriol thrown into their face, usually they pretty much they hit peak performance in the face of adversity, and I'm sure they're gonna do just fine. But speaking of doing just fine, bro, what the fuck is China doing, man? China has way too much money. They have way too much clout. They have way too much power. John Cena came out and made a whole ass video. Yes, John Cena, this man you can't even see, made an apology to China because apparently he referred to Taiwan as a country. And like, we're at a point now where we gotta like really dig into this thing now, because a lot of people talk about China doesn't have that much influence. China can't do that. John Cena is out here apologizing because he knows that the Fast movie may not do too well if China isn't on board. And if China isn't on board, that's a large market of 1 billion+ people that you're not going to be able to get to. Not because everyone supports the Chinese government in China, but the Chinese government will do everything possible to make sure that the only way that anyone in China can watch the movie is via piracy.
Yeah,
And
honestly.
and even if they have fans in China, which I'm sure they do, pirated copies do not translate to the paycheck. And if it doesn't translate to the paycheck of the actors, it damn sure doesn't go to the writers and the people who sign your paychecks as an actor, which may lead to bad blood in the future. So yeah, China has a vice grip on the testicles and the ovaries of the entity known as Hollywood. So when people are talking about, well, what about Star Wars? There's a reason why John Boyega wanted out. There's a reason why every time you saw a Chinese version of the poster, anybody who had a face that looked like me or Abdul's was either no longer on the poster or was as small as the focus on Aloy's right ear. Or excuse me, yeah, right ear up there, right above my head. Yeah, so there's a reason why when we talk about China and their government, they have a stranglehold on many entertainment many strands of the entertainment industry. There's a reason why Tencent is doing everything that it's doing, and why you may think that they're only related to gaming. But if you actually look at the last Terminator movie and a few other movies out there as well, you will see that Tencent is also credited because they are a global entity that has their hands in everything media related.
And we've mentioned this, we've mentioned this before. So, it's just good for y'all to know, like, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. So, China is still a problem, and celebrities are still going to be like, whoa, shit, whoa, they're messing with the bag. Sorry, China. I will never do that again. John Cena said that Taiwan is a country, and China was like, "No, we're not a fan of you saying that," and thus he had to, retract that. Like that's just how it is. And people are like trying to shit on John Cena, be like, "Wow, look at this guy, look at this cuck. Wow, he's bowing to the Chinese overlords." It's like, no, he's bowing to his paycheck, whoever pays him. So that's just how it is. I mean, like, are you gonna give up your job if China shows up and is all of a sudden like, now you have to get on your knees or else you won't get paid ever again? I don't believe you will. I believe you will. Some people might, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. So I'm not going to give him shit for that. But it is a like messed up situation that like they do have the power to just do that, like be like, hey, no, we don't like what he said, so he's got to retract that, and then he's just got to publicly be like, sorry guys, I guess I didn't mean it or whatever.
I guess I didn't mean the words that I said deliberately. My fault.
Mm-hmm.
My fault. My fault. I was ignorant. I didn't know that Taiwan wasn't a country. I was ignorant. I mean, we saw exactly what happened with what was it, Blitzchung, back when Blizzard and Hearthstone had that falling out. Like, yeah, don't think we forgot, guys. Don't think we forgot.
Yep.
Especially, I don't know if you know about this, but black people apparently have not been getting the good shake on TikTok either. Where we could be making a point about how people should have freedoms, or just simple things like that, and we will be flagged and taken down for hate speech. Meanwhile, there are some channels that have been going around for months calling people all types of racial slurs and bitches and whores and all that stuff, and because they don't look like us, they have been left in good standing. So yeah, we will see what happens when the fire sets, but China got way too much power. And I don't know how people are going to band together or when they're going to band together, but nah, fuck this. Chinese government, Tencent, step aside, fuck off. But as we all know, the pursuit of the almighty dollar is way too important to too many people for us to believe that anybody else is going to do it for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I believe the days of the revolution just happening, I believe those days are over. I believe like people are going to have to come together and brute force the change. I don't know where people will start with that. I don't know when they'll start with that, or the hows and who's going to put it together. But at some point, here's the hoping. Yeah. Here's the hoping that it's sometime soon, as opposed to later. It won't be in our lifetime. I guarantee you, though. Guarantee you. That's for the next couple of generations to get together, mediate, figure out. But other than that, I know this is a short episode of the podcast, but one of us has a tournament, a social outing that they need to get to. And no, it's not me, not this time. This is a subtle fraudulence exclusive. So he's going to be hitting up 404 Esports because I believe it's Tampa Never Sleeps at X 404 Esports having a collaboration event for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So talk to the people. Tell them what it's about. Let them know.
All right. Anyone who's been following the Marvel scene lately has noticed that Tampa Never Sleeps has been running a series of online tournaments to basically just keep the scene strong. And these are tournaments that have been through Parsec. So Tong, the TO of Tampa Never Sleeps, reached out to Greg from 404 Esports, and they organized this event where Tong is going to bring his people over here, and they were going to throw the first Tampa Never Sleeps offline event in at least a year over at 404 Esports. And right now, people are there and they're playing some games, and there's some exhibitions that are going to start at 7 p.m. at the Tampa Never Sleeps Twitch channel, so twitch.tv/Tampa Never Sleeps. But Greg also has his own stream. Right now you can see people playing casuals on twitch.tv/4 the letter O for esports. You can see people there, see that people are showing up as we speak. And so the Tampa Never Sleeps Twitch channel is where you can go to see the exhibitions and then the tournament on Saturday. But there's also going to be a side stream with casuals and probably some of the exhibitions as well. So you can multi-stream both of those to get that going. But I'll also be going there after I'm done recording this, and maybe you'll see me on stream. Maybe not, probably not, but maybe you'll see me. I'll try to pull out a win for the people who are supporters of this podcast.
And with that being said, we will see you next week with the full slated schedule. And yeah, we will see you guys then. Y'all be safe, and until next time, have a great set of games and an even better day. And hashtag ride the wave. Episode 37 coming soon.